Today, we're talking about the debut of Nexus. But from last week's video, I want to talk about two things first. Leading up to the NXT finale, we had been doing house shows, and this was my first time ever doing house shows with the main roster. And it was kind of nerve-wracking because here I am, very green, but now I'm with the main roster, and these house shows are way different from FCWs. Now, at FCWs, we're always at a flea market, a car dealership, an armory, high school gymnasium, something like that. Actually, we never did high school gymnasium, but you get my drift. Now, there might be 50 people. If we had 100 people, that was a big deal. But at WWE house shows, you're talking thousands. You probably have 3,000 people there. Like, these are no joke. So it's a lot of pressure to do well. Now, on these house shows, I typically lost. I was a heel, so baby faces usually go over on house shows. So I didn't really think this was that big of a deal. Made me a little bit nervous heading into the finale of NXT because I didn't really know what to expect. I don't know if agents are looking at these. I don't know if, these matches factor in. Clearly they didn't because they're not televised. I didn't know what would happen. I figured I made it far enough, so they probably wouldn't just flat out fire me, but I figured I'd go back to FCW. That's what I really thought would happen. At the time, there was a few guys who would do FCW TV. So full-time in FCW, but every now and then they would get to go on the road and do house shows with WWE. And house shows or live events, this was still new to me. I didn't exactly know that these happened every week. Like, look, I thought that wrestling was on Monday for Raw and then SmackDown on Tuesday. That's it. I thought as a WWE superstar, we only work 2 days a week. That's a great schedule. The rest of it, you're trading or you're chilling at home with your family. So the first time that I had to do a live event loop, like, I thought, oh, these are, live events are like special. This is a special event that, WWE is doing in addition, to Raw and SmackDown. And then they had it again, like the next weekend. And I was like, oh, okay, we're just doing these for a while. And then I realized, oh, no, this is the job. They always have these. They're just not televised. But wait, this is most of your job, in fact. Like, you do mostly live events, and this is where you get most of your money. You earn most of your salary from live events, not television appearances. But that was eye-opening for me. And then I realized this is why not everybody can do this job. This is why this job is so difficult, is because it's so much wrestling, and it's a different city every night, and it's 52 weeks a year. That travel, that schedule, that is a lot. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. It's hard on you emotionally, just being away from your family. Like, that's a lot, even if you love something, that's a lot. It's kind of funny when you look at things in 2025, now WWE's schedule kind of looks like how I thought it was back then. And everything is focused around TV because TV is so much more important. It means everything, like Raw on Netflix. Like, you want to look great for that, which I still feel like that should have been the focus back then. Maybe I was just ahead of my time and had to wait for them to catch up with the same business model, but I don't know. Going back to the finale, I want to talk about my mental state at the time. And so on that day, backstage while we're preparing, we end up getting travel for the next week. So at least I know that I'm supposed to come back the next week, but I don't know why. So I'm thinking and hoping that it's because I win. So that's my impression, is clearly they're booking me because I'm coming back. I'm going to win this finale and I need to be there the next week. However, the other guys got travel too. So I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe they got travel because they're going to be fired. The consensus was that But there's going to be some talk afterwards, I thought, with everybody from season 1. And, whoever the winner was going to go on the main roster. And I thought most everybody else was going to go back to FCW. And then some people were going to be fired, or some people were going to go back to FCW and either eventually come back to the main roster or just be fired. So after the finale, go back to Tampa, and I remember I'm crushed, and it was tough. Thursday, I turn up to FCW for FCW TV, and I find out that I have a match, which was surprising to me because honestly, I was on FCW TV more after being part of NXT and being in that season than I was before it. Like, I really had not been on FCW TV hardly at all before that. So now I'm kind of getting somewhat my first experiences with FCW TV, but after having been on the main roster and, being runner-up on NXT. But then also, they put me in an 8-man tag match, like with the guys from NXT, my buddies from NXT season 1, and then going up against the guys from NXT season 2, which this isn't really that great of a match. Not a good spot on the card. Like, you stick somebody in an 8-man tag if you just need something for the guys to do. Like, I'm not spotlighted, not highlighted. So kind of was nervous about this, but figured I was just going to be back in FCW somewhere in the mix, in the mid card with them, looking to stick me in somewhere, or being lucky to get on the show. Because like I said, I hadn't really been on FCW TV before, and now they just stuck me in an 8-man tag, which didn't really mean anything. There was no storyline, so kind of figured I was starting over again here at FCW. And this match was random. I mean, it had nothing to do with FCW. In fact, it actually would have made a lot of sense if this was on season 2 of NXT episode 1. Oh, okay. Now that makes some sense. And then now, I'm still on the main roster. Like that, this would be great. But yeah, it just randomly was stuck on FCW TV. On June 7th, I wake up in Miami, Florida, and first thing I do is go to the gym. This is what I always do on the road. And while I'm in the gym, I'm working out hard. I look over, who do I see? Vince McMahon and his trainer, Mike. Shout out to Mike. That's my guy too. But I used to always see Vince in the gym, and we'd always talk real quick or whatever. And he'd usually give me some compliment or something like that, which always meant a lot to me too, because I don't know if Vince is in amazing shape. And so it was cool anytime, just to hear something coming from him. And I was trying to gauge, am I good? Like, what? I was hanging on every word. He didn't really say anything. He didn't really say much, but just, was normal. And, I go back, I shower, get dressed, go to the building, an hour early, like we're supposed to. Still rookies, trying to impress. And we get to the building, and it's weird because, well, first of all, some of the boys are like, what are you doing here? Why are you guys here? And the thing is, I don't know. I had to tell them, honestly, I don't know. Like, we don't know why we're here. And, we went to catering and, said hi to people. But it was weird because the agents didn't really talk to us, or the writers or anything. And normally they would come up and be telling us what we're doing and whatnot. But so we waited around a while. Then eventually we kind of started asking because nobody was talking to us. And they all said, I don't know. We have no idea why you're here. So we're like, okay. Started to get a little nervous, talking amongst ourselves. And we're like, man, I wonder if this is it. Like, are we getting fired? Are we getting sent back to FCW? Like what's happening? And for myself, I felt pretty comfortable in that, I didn't think I was getting fired, but I thought that at the least I was going back to FCW. But I did think some of the other guys would probably be fired. I didn't think everybody was going to stay like this. It didn't have a good feeling, and just the way everybody was treating us. Doors had already opened, and it was getting close to showtime, and we get word that we're needed in Vince's office. Terrified, thinking this is it. Oh, Vince's office? This isn't good. Like, if we were going to do something somebody would have come and just told us, but like, we've never been called to Vince's office before. Like, this is weird. It's like going to the principal's office. All 7 of us, we all go to Vince's office. We go in. Vince is in there with Michael Hayes. And we're like, I'm thinking, oh, all right, this is it. Like, we've done it now. I don't even know what we did, but they're disappointed in us. And yeah. But then they explain this Nexus angle. They pull out these armbands and pass them around. And they're black, yellow. You've seen them with the N on it. And they say that it stands for Nexus, and they want to try something. And they want to see if, we can work as a group. And he's going to do an experiment, basically, but an angle for that night where he explains he wants us to run down, storm the ring, tear everything up, and beat everybody up. Everybody in sight, leave, just wreak havoc and leave waste behind us. Nobody standing. And so we're like, okay. But Vince is really like into this, describing it, like how vicious it needs to be, and describing how he wants us to be like a pack of wild dogs. And something he'd watched on National Geographic, and he was explaining to us how these dogs were just pulling apart, some poor gazelle or something. I don't know what it was. And this is what he wanted us to do. And then they further reinforced that if this didn't look good, we were going to be fired. So talk about pressure. So they said at the end, yeah, this has to look real. We can't pull any punches. This can't look like we're protecting people. This has to look vicious, violent, has to look real. And if it doesn't, we're fired. This is basically our one opportunity. We got to get this right, or that's the end of it. And then he told us that nobody knows about this, and to speak to nobody about this, but that he was going to clue in Cena. And I don't remember him saying he was going to clue in Punk, but I remember him telling us that he was going to clue in Cena. So then I imagine Cena would clue in Punk or whatnot. And the rest of the locker room didn't know about this, and we were not allowed to tell. And so we kind of we were excited, but then nervous at the same time, like, okay, because they gave us very little information. And obviously there was no rehearsal, because they told us about this after doors were open. So we had very little time to get ready, but we started putting our gear on. But we had to wait until nearly the last minute, and then we got our gear on, and we weren't supposed to let people see. And I remember there's a couple guys in the locker room like asking, like, what are you doing? Why are you gearing up? And we couldn't say anything to them. So back in that time, NXT, we were treated bad. We were treated like rookies, and they hazed us. And we had our own personal locker room that was usually like a broom closet somewhere, or they would throw up like a curtain in a hallway. Like, for any of the workers, anybody who's ever been backstage or seen like backstage footage, if you ever see where they keep the extra talent, that's what we had. A lot of times we were next to the extra talent, or we had just a curtain, but like, it's literally a curtain set up in a hallway. So we were not allowed to go into the main locker room. So this kind of came in handy in the fact that when we did start changing, it wasn't in the main locker room, so the other workers didn't know. However, we always had a couple of guys who weren't on the card, they were working catering, if you know what I mean. And they would just be hanging around, being nosy. And I can't remember who it was, but I remember somebody came in there and they were like, what are you guys doing? Why are you putting on your gear? We couldn't tell them. And so we had a favor right there. Couldn't say anything, just did what we had to do. And then I remember when it came time for our segment, walking through backstage in our gear, and we're all in a huff, like we're in a hurry doing this. And I remember, now we're passing our coworkers, our colleagues, and they're asking us, what are you doing? What's going on? We can't say nothing. We're stone-faced and we're in character. And so this kind of rubbed people the wrong way too, but kind of leads into the story in that when we do this invasion, the boys in the locker room, they thought it was real. Like, people didn't know, like even the workers. So we worked the workers, which was impressive. But after the fact, some of them were waiting for us backstage because they really thought that we went rogue. But I remember one of the security guards came and got me. I think I might have been with Justin Gabriel, but we had to go back through the mezzanine and go up like a flight of stairs to get through the crowd in order for us to come down through the bowl. And it was exciting, but man, I was nervous on that walk. And, you know, walking through and you're seeing people, you know, like at the concession stands and stuff, and people like, oh man, that's David Otunga. Oh yeah. They don't know what's going on. And like, why is he up here like in the stands? Like what's going on? What are they doing? And then I remember like we had a security guard up there who would give us our cue because we didn't even know when we were supposed to go to the ring. They were like staggering it. And so they just told us, when you get the cue, go down there, walk through the crowd, make your way, stand and just stare, take it in. And everybody has to act as a unit, and everybody will get up on the ring at the same time. You'll climb through at the same time. And then here's the thing. When it starts, I was given the task of taking out the referee. And this was going to be like the thing that really popped things off. And this was a lot of pressure because I had to punch him and I had to make this look good. I've mentioned this before, but wrestling punches are really hard to learn. Like, it takes a while, like, for you to throw a great wrestling punch and not hurt somebody and make it look real. And I was so green. I never learned punches in FCW. I don't know if I've ever told this, but like they never told me how to throw punches. And then being in NXT and on the main roster, all of a sudden I'm expected to throw punches. And how do I tell them, hey, I've never been taught that? I mean, I could show you a headlock takeover. No, an armbar. Punch? I'm sorry. Can I body slam him instead? No, you have to do this. All right. And Vince already said, if it doesn't look vicious enough, we're fired. He said, lay everything in. So in my mind, like, all right, Chad Patton was the referee. I got to just punch you, Chad. Like, I thought about it. Like, I'm just going to have to do it and apologize later. But if I have to knock him out, sorry, Chad, I'm going to have to do it. But luckily, it came off great. That's probably the best punch I ever threw in my entire career. And it looked great. And as far as I know, Chad still has all his teeth. And he wasn't too bad after that. So it worked out. So this was all kind of just given loose. Vince kind of just gave us loose directions and left it up to us. Like, we didn't have anything specific that we had to do other than we had to tear up John Cena. And, you know, like he had to be laying there at the end. Like, we had to dang near kill him. Like, that was the thing. We had to put a severe beat down on Cena. That was the only thing that was mandated. That, and we had to tear everything up. Recapping. Tear up the ring. We want it looking unrecognizable. It had to be ugly and vicious. And Vince really wanted us to tear up the ring, and he said that never happened before. I guess the ring was kind of old, and they had a new one that they were going to replace it with. So that's why he really wanted us just to go crazy on it, just to go ham. He said they would have box cutters out there. Like, we cut the ropes down, we cut up the canvas, pulled it up, and you can see why people were nervous, because like a lot of wrestling fans, I'd heard people say this like in the comments, they'd never seen that before and never seen what's under the mat, never seen what's under the ring, where in my mind, I was thinking, yo, we should start taking it apart, because at FCW, we're used to building the rings. Like, we build these every week and take them down. Like, we could take that thing apart if we want to start pulling the boards off. Like, yo, this could be cool. But luckily, things worked out, but it was a lot of just improv down there. Like, I remember just, it kind of was like being a kid and getting to throw a tantrum, but then like you're telling us, okay, I have to throw a tantrum. And so you just tear up whatever's in front of you. You're excited, grab it. I'm gonna pull this off. I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna grab this chair. I'm gonna throw it over there. Okay, what can I find next? Oh, box cutter. I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut that. So it was fun being destructive. It's like well, I've never been in a rage room, but it's what I imagine those are like. But it was, man, that was fun. Hey, that just gave me a great idea. How cool would a Nexus rage ring be? Like, they set up some kind of ring and they give you box cutters and everything, and you can go and tear it up, just like the Nexus did. Tear up a whole backstage set. Wouldn't that be cool? So again, one of the things that just made this so believable and so realistic is because it was. we had that real threat of being fired, and we were directed to take anybody out who was down there. Now, mind you, we didn't know who all was clued in. Like, we knew Cena was, and I imagine he told Punk, but he got out of there. But then we were told to take out everybody at ringside also. Now, I'd met Justin Roberts before. It was cool with him, but I don't know if he was clued in on this or not. And then I know Daniel Bryan got a hold of him and was choking him with his necktie. I don't even remember if I saw it in real time as it was happening, because I was having too much fun being destructive. I definitely saw the replay, but it was wild because Bryan eventually got fired, like right after this. And, you know, they never really said why he got fired. Like, it's widely reported that it's the visual of Bryan choking Justin Roberts with his necktie. However, I have another take for you. And I was there, and I do remember something else that happened. Daniel Bryan spit in John Cena's face. Now, I know we're working, but if he spit in my face, hey, I'm sorry. I'm gonna beat his ass right there. Sorry. This is just what's gonna happen. So, like, that definitely was, I don't think that was talked about. Like, spit in the face? What? Anyway, I don't know if John ever said something, or if it's just the people around, or they saw this like, yo, you can't spit in the top guy's face. Or if, you know, maybe Cena said something like, man, Daniel Bryan was out of control out there. Like, you know, spit on me, he was stiff. Like, who knows? But something led to Bryan being legit fired. Like, that was a shoot. That was not a work. He was taking bookings and everything. And to give you an example of why I might think this is, you know, just a year before, Ken Kennedy was in a match and allegedly may have injured Randy Orton, or might have worked too stiff. But as the story goes, Randy and John Cena mentioned to somebody that Kennedy was working too stiff. And then next thing you know, he's fired immediately after that. So, like, things like this happen is just from somebody, you know, making even a side comment, depending on who it is, how if it's a top guy or how high up on the card they are, somebody could easily get fired for something like that. So I thought for a long time, Daniel Bryan's firing was a work. I mean, I just learned not to trust anything. But then I saw that he was actually taking bookings. And then what really told me was after they brought him back, I'm pretty sure they let him honor those dates. Now, Vince would only let him do that if contractually, like, he really had booked those dates. So I don't see why they would let him do that, you know, if this was a work. I really don't. So we entered through the crowd, and then when we left, we walked through like the side exit and went into backstage. And I remember we walked around to go back into like towards where Gorilla was, like where Vince was. And we walked back in there. Vince just had the biggest smile on his face. Vince comes over and he said something to the effect of, smells like money. I remember it was something about money and like how he loved this angle, but it was really cool in the moment, like seeing how proud Vince was of this angle that he came up with and that it had worked. And like that was an example of getting to witness Vince's brilliance, like in real time. He came up with this angle. We executed it to perfection, and this is exactly what he saw and what he envisioned. And it was cool. And it ended up being the biggest angle of the summer, one of the biggest angles of all time. I noticed that when we came back, like, people were really pleased. And like, they were like, wow, that was something. And that, hey, like, this is great. But like, I don't remember it being full out applause, but it was more like kind of shock, but also I know we impressed some people, like some of the agents and stuff, definitely Michael Hayes. Like, I remember that they looked at us differently. Like, now they were looking at us like, oh, I see something. You guys aren't the rookies you were before. Like, that's what I could tell, is there was a difference where now, we could be like legitimate, characters on here on the main roster now. Like, we got something. And I remember as soon as we did that, the reactions in the locker room were mixed. First of all, and I didn't see this, but I heard some of the boys were pissed and were trying to go out there to stop us, and that some of the agents actually had to stop them backstage and tell them, no, this is part of it. This is a work. because some of the guys were going to run out there and try to help. They thought we for real just went crazy. So some of the vets were going to come out and really, really try to even the score. That would have been wild. I wonder what would have happened. This would have been like me and R-Truth again. Like, wait, are we working? Or no, we're really fighting out here. Like, what's going on? But also, then I remember it didn't take long, but guys we knew in the locker room, they started getting jealous of us really quick. And it wasn't so much the top guys, but it was more the guys who were pretty new or mid-carders who felt they were above us. And then now we leapfrogged them. Because here we are, we're rookies. And now we're in the main event, in the main storyline on every show and the pay-per-view. So I get it, but like we faced a lot of hate, a lot of hate. And not just, and the thing it was weird. It wasn't just from the boys. It was like from agents too. Like the politics backstage at WWE is wild. We'll have to make a whole video on this and the politics. Like, even if you think about it, like the politics at live events, because who do you think chooses the winners at live events? It's not Vince. Vince doesn't really care about that. It's whoever the agents are, the road agents for that show. So they might have all baby faces go over, but then what happens if you're related to the agent? What if the agent is your dad or your brother, your uncle, you know, whatever? Like, they have a significant amount of power because also they're kind of like your proctors for this, or your teachers. They're going to give you a grade. So like whatever they tell the office, they write a report and the office looks at that. Like, they could bury you if they want to, or if they want to make somebody else look good, or if they don't want somebody to look good. All of this factors in and is a major part of people's careers, and, you know, whether people succeed or they don't. So after that, we were loosely told what the long-term plan was for the Nexus. And so in my next video, I'm going to take you through that plan and how it ended up working out.